right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the March 13th, 2024 meeting of the City of Pasco Hearing Examiner. My name is Andy Kottkamp, and I've been appointed by the City of Pasco to serve as the Land Use Hearing Examiner. And my job is to render decisions on various applications that are authorized to come before me, which include special permits and rezone applications. That's what we have on the agenda for today. Now, I consider any testimony and evidence presented at today's hearing, as well as all the written materials that are already on file, in order to make my decision. Now, the hearing process does have certain rules, but I'll still try to be relaxed and informal throughout the hearing. But we still have a process we're going to use. We'll take each item separately, and for each item, staff will present their report and make whatever recommendations that they wish to make. Next, the applicant or the applicant's representative is given an opportunity to present their testimony and evidence. The applicant does have the burden of proof to show compliance with all the applicable rules and regulations. Then if somebody from the public came to testify, either in favor or against a project, you'll be given that chance to do so. And if there is any testimony in opposition to the project, I will give the applicant an opportunity to submit whatever rebuttal testimony they wish to make. Because the applicant has the burden of proof, the applicant gets the last opportunity to present a rebuttal evidence. If you are going to testify, what I'm going to have you do is either come up to the podium there in the front of the hearing room, or if you're online, you can unmute yourself, and then I'll have you state your name and your address, and I'll swear you in as a witness. I'd ask that you keep your testimony relevant to the application we're talking about. This is not a time for questions. You will not be allowed to question the hearing examiner or staff or the applicant, and they won't be allowed to question the public. This is a time for you to present your testimony and evidence as to why the project does or does not comply with the applicable rules and regulations. If you have anything in writing that you want to submit today, we can make those arrangements. Now, I have the option following this hearing to keep the record open if I think there's a need for additional written testimony to be submitted. But in any event, my written decision will be made within 10 working days after I close the public record. I should note that for the rezones, I make a recommended decision that goes to City Council. My decision is not subject to an appeal. My decisions on the short or the special permit items, those are final decisions that are subject to appeal pursuant to the Pasco Municipal Code. I've reviewed the items on today's agenda. I don't have any interest in any of the properties or the proposals to be heard today. I will be able to fairly and objectively consider each item. And then outside of receiving and reviewing the staff report for each item, along with all the attachments to the staff report, which generally included all the application materials and noticing documents and comments that have come through, there's maps and drawings, zoning overlays. Other than receiving and reviewing essentially the entire planning staff file, I've not had any communication regarding any of the items that are on today's agenda. So with those representations, if you have any objection to me serving as the hearing examiner for any item on tonight's agenda, if so, you need to come forward or unmute yourself and state so at this time. All right, seeing none and hearing none, we'll turn to the first item on today's agenda. This is one of the special permits that we will be talking about tonight. This is given application number SP 2023-018, which is an application for a time-limited continuation of an existing concrete batch plant and office and retail space. This relates to property located within the city of Pasco that is more specifically described in the staff report, as well as in all the application materials. And once again, for the record, I will admit into the record the application materials, the staff report, the noticing documents, the SEPA documents, there's zoning maps and photographs, I'll admit, and also a March 11, 2024 memorandum from the applicant's attorney. I'll admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference and turn this matter over to staff for their presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Just FYI, this is Jeff Adams. Now will be presenting the first three items, and Andrew Hattori will be doing the last item on the agenda today. So for the interest of the viewing public, This is special permit SP 2023-018, Interstate Concrete and Asphalt, doing business as American Rock Products. Again, wanting a continuation of an existing concrete batch plant, office, and retail space at 11919 Harris Road, located in an RT zoning district. This site is approximately 11.95 acres. An applicant wishes to continue operation of this concrete batch plant with the office and the retail space. The notice of public hearing was sent to property owners within 300 feet of the subject property and the newspaper on 23 February 2024. The site is developed with the concrete batch plant, office, and retail space. Surrounding properties to the north are also zoned RT, which is residential transition. And the surrounding properties to the north are used for mineral extraction in conjunction with the primary concrete batch plant use. Properties to the south are zoned RS12, which is suburban residential. And those properties to the south are largely developed with higher-end single-family dwelling units. The mining around the subject parcel began in the 1950s. In 1982, the site was annexed into the city, and in 1984, Central Premix obtained a conditional use permit, 84-01-CUP, for sand and gravel extraction, concrete plant, and incidental sales. 3 additional special use permits were requested to continue and expand the mining operations in 1995, 2006, and 2010. Staff proposed designating land surrounding and including the American Rock property as medium density residential in conjunction with the Broadmoor Area Master Plan at the November 17th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting. On December 9th, 2022, representatives from the applicant sent a letter to staff objecting to a medium density residential land use designation of their site and requesting that an alternative be prepared, designating ARP's property in order of preference, medium industrial, commercial, allowing conditional use for existing concrete batch plants, or mixed residential commercial, allowing conditional use for the existing concrete batch plant. Per Pasco Municipal Code, PMC 25.165.130, subsection 1, mineral extraction, quarrying, rock crushing, or related activities such as premix plant use may be permitted in any zone on approval of a special permit and as provided in this title. The excavation and sale of sand and gravel, clay, shale, or other natural mineral deposits, except topsoil, for the quarrying of any kind of rock formation shall be subject to the following conditions. A, in case of an open excavation or quarry, there shall be substantial fence with a suitable gate completely enclosing the portion of the property in which the excavation is located, and such fence shall be located at all points 40 feet or more from the edge of the excavation or quarry. There are other conditions, but this outlines that quarry use is an allowed use in any zone in the city, contingent upon approval of a special permit. On April 17th, 2023, the Pasco City Council approved Ordinance 4659, approving the Broadmoor Master Plan and creating Chapter 25.97 Broadmoor Overlay District. The Broadmoor Master Plan amended the underlying land use designation for the site from medium density residential to industrial. The Comprehensive Plan land use designation for the site is industrial. The industrial land use designation allows for I1, I2, and I3 zoning. However, the Broadmoor Overlay District land use table found in PMC 25.97040 only allows I1 zoning. Per PMC 25.97.050 subsection 6, most uses normally allowed in both the C3, I-1 and I-2 zoning districts are specifically prohibited in the Broadmoor Overlay District. Finally, PMC 25.97.050 subsection 1C allows the continuation of existing industrial uses until 2035, after which the industrial land use designation is to be amended to medium density residential. So in summary, the industrial land use designation for the site is limited in both time and scope. Based upon these findings, staff recommends, based on the findings of fact and conclusions herein, that a time-limited special permit be approved for an existing concrete batch plant use with office and retail space at 11919 Harris Road, Pasco, with conditions as listed in the March 13th, 2024 hearing examiner staff report. And that's our report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adams. I don't have any questions for staff. Is the applicant ready to proceed? Good evening. I'll have you state your name and address for me.
Mr. Hearing Examiner Elizabeth Tellison of Winston and Cachet here on behalf of the applicant, 601 West Riverside, Spokane, Washington.
Will you be providing any testimony or merely argument based upon the evidence in the record?
I will be arguing only based on the evidence in the record. With me today are several of the owner representatives to answer any questions you have about the resource use, the operations, or the management of the site. Jana McDonald, Troy Hewitt, and John Matson is online. So if you have any particular questions about the site and its operations, I will direct you to the appropriate person to testify.
All right, thank you. A couple of things. First of all, as their attorney, you are their agent, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you had a chance to look at the staff report?
I have reviewed the staff report.
Does the applicant have any objection to any of the representations in the staff report?
The only point that we would ask you to give some careful consideration to is the recommended condition number 4 that states with some vagueness, no fugitive dust. The plant and the operations presently have a Department of Ecology permit that directs what, if any, emissions can be generated at the site. The site itself, as previously mentioned, is surrounded by the mining operation presently, also is in the vicinity of agricultural properties and will be developed in the future. So the request of the applicant is that the condition direct that the site will continue to comply with all of the applicable regulations and its existing and any renewal of the air quality permits.
All right. Does the applicant agree that the hearing examiner can set conditions regardless of what the Department of Ecology permit might say?
We do.
All right. And what's the time limit for, that you're proposing for this permit?
The proposal has been, and what's been adopted in the Broadmoor Development Regulations and the Comprehensive Plan, is through December 2035, a 10-year horizon.
Right. Yeah, okay. And that's why, anyway, I'll look at the fugitive dust issue, Ms. Tellison. There could be a lot of new development around that area in the next 11 years. And, you know, if it's residential development or commercial development, people may not like dust blowing on them. So I'll look at the regulations and the permits you have already and see what I'm going to do with that.
Of course.
Sorry, I'd just like to ask those questions to begin with. I'll let you just kind of make your presentation now. What would you like to tell me?
To that point, obviously the site has and is in operation. It began its operations in 1995 at a time that predated much of the residential development that exists presently across Terrace Road. There have been some growing pains with that relationship, but to the extent you have any questions to verify the information that's in my memo, which American Rock Products has become and is a community member, has had numbers of outreach programs with its neighbors to ensure that its operations don't disrupt the neighboring homeowners. They have obviously maintained their site using best management practices, of many of those controlling not only dust and emissions but also noise from the site. They use polyurethane screens on any of the washing systems to limit the noise generated by those. All of the equipment has white noise backup alarms. So any of the operational best management practices are largely already in place to control any off-site impact that could exist. So we have, I think, made a track record with those in the neighborhood to establish that we mine this site very responsibly and on a purposeful measure to make sure that we're a good community partner. With that being said, and regard to the code criteria, we do believe we meet all of those. The future land use plan, the second alternative that designates the site, has been designated as industrial. The infrastructure demands on the site, we do not expect to change in any material way. The site is served by on-site water and sewer presently. With regard to criteria 3 of the review criteria, the harmony with the character of the neighborhood, as I mentioned, ARP strives to be a community partner and a good community member, and will continue to carry out that objective. The buildings on the site are single story. The concrete batch plant sits below grade, so it also is not a height issue at this particular site. I mentioned with regard to noise, fumes, vibration, dust, all of those are being managed through best management practices. And to the extent there is any question for the public health, safety, welfare, we believe that our track record has established that none of those are going to be threatened or impeded. The Broadmoor development regulations expressly call for this use to continue. So the fact that the zoning that would otherwise be required to allow a new concrete batch plant of this nature and could not be approved, the City Council, in approving the Broadmoor development regulations, has legislatively authorized that this use may continue, obviously subject to your review, that any special conditions be placed on it. That is all I have. If you have any particular questions about operations on the site, I'm happy to defer to the applicant representatives.
Yeah, if you can't answer this, you can bring somebody else up to say this. I'm just looking at some of the photographs that I had, and none of the materials that I have definitively say whether this property is, or a portion of this property is or is not within shoreline jurisdiction, and that the shoreline master program may apply. Can you or one of your clients confirm this?
We
One way or the
have not looked into that specifically. There isn't presently a shoreline management permit or any other hydraulic permit for the operations. We can, I think, check that pretty readily, probably sitting here today, if you want us to confirm that, or we could confirm it after the follow of the hearing.
I just thought somebody would have checked the ordinary high water mark and determined whether this was 200 feet away from it.
I have not independently verified that, but I'm sure we can check and confirm.
All right, and I'll check with staff too. I mean, I know this goes back many, many years, but since this is before me now, I just wanted to make sure, see if that's out there or not.
Fair.
Anything else from the applicant, Ms. Tellison?
Not if you do not have any further questions.
Yeah, and what I may do, well, we'll wait and see if anybody from the public testifies. And I'll likely keep, unless Mr. Adams has an answer, I'll probably keep the record open for a bit of time just to get some sort of a response as to why the Shoreline Master Program is not applicable, apparently not applicable. But I appreciate you coming in, excuse me, coming up. And I will turn it over, I'll see if anybody from the public came to testify.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And to that end, did any member of the public that is in person come to testify on this matter? Okay, not seeing any movement. Mr. Adams, is there anybody online that wishes to testify?
We have a John Matson, but I don't know if he's part of your group. John,
Okay.
did you want to say anything?
I'm with John Matson. I'm with American Rock Products.
All right. So apparently nobody has anything to say.
All right. I'll turn this matter back over to staff real quick. Mr. Adams, does staff have any comment on the hearing examiner's question regarding applicability of the Shoreline Master Program?
Not at this time. We can get back to you on that.
All right. I don't want to leave the record open for an inordinate amount of time. It's Wednesday. I would suggest either Friday at 5 o'clock or a week from today at 5 o'clock. Does staff have a preference? Does the applicant have a preference?
We could have that answer to you tomorrow.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the record open until 5 p.m. on Friday. And then the city indicated that they will have a response sometime tomorrow. And Ms. Tellison, if the applicant has any further response, they have until Friday at 5 p.m. to get their response in. And if you need additional time, if something comes up that nobody's expecting, then you just need to ask for it. So the record's open until March 15th at 5 p.m. for this limited purpose. All right, thank you very much. We'll turn to the second item on today's agenda, which is also another special permit application. Let me get the file up here. This is application SP 2023-021, and this is an application by the Columbia Basin Health Association for a special permit to locate a CBHA medical health clinic at the northeast corner of Road 68 and Three Rivers Drive in Pasco. Again, this relates to property more specifically described in the application materials and in the staff report that is within the city of Pasco. I will admit into the record at this time by this reference, not only that staff report, but all the application materials, all the noticing documents, all the comments that have come through, all the maps and drawings, zoning maps. I'll admit all those items, admit indeed the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference, and turn this matter over to Mr. Adams again for the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Again, this is special permit 2023-021, Columbia Basin Health Association, CBHA Pasco. This property is located at the northeast corner of Road 68 and Three Rivers Drive, and it is Zone C1, which is retail business. The site is approximately 9.96 acres. An applicant wishes to construct an approximately 28,800 square foot, two-story medical clinic at the northeast corner of Road 68 and the future extension of Three Rivers Drive, which plans for future expansion future expansion for a third medical suite of 6,300 square feet on the first floor and expansion of the dental clinic for approximately 1,700 square feet for a full build-out total of 36,800 square feet. For the information of the public, notice of the public hearing was sent to property owners within 300 feet of the subject property and the newspaper on 27 February 2024. As mentioned before, the first floor of this building would be 19,580 square feet, and the second floor is 9,260 square feet. The first floor would include a medical clinic, optometry, pharmacy, cafe, support functions. The second floor of the clinic would include a dental office, conference, and administrative functions. And then the medical clinic would include two full medical suites with 12 exam rooms each, or 24 exam rooms, treatment room, triage room, and 4 behavioral health consult rooms. The dental clinic will include 11 operatories. 5 additional operatories will be shelled in for future use. The height of this building would be, the galleria would be 38 feet. The back stair would be 40 feet tall, and all other building elements would be below 32 feet in height. And I believe I have an elevation here that I can show you. The building will be constructed primarily of wood with steel used as required. The exterior will be a combination of concrete, brick, wood, porcelain tile, stucco, and glass. Parking and building lighting will be proposed for late evening and nighttime. The proposed facility would employ a maximum of 90 employees, and the future expansion would add approximately 30 additional employees. So the proposed facility would employ a total of 120 employees at full build out. As far as streets and traffic are concerned, the proposed clinic would generate an additional 1,325 trips during a typical weekday based on Institute of Transportation Engineers averages. Frontage improvements to Road 68 would be required, including road widening, curb, and sidewalks. And as mentioned before, Three Rivers Drive would be extended east to Road 68. As far as history goes, the site was annexed in 1982 under ordinance number 2388. The site was assigned RT zoning, which is residential transition, in conjunction with the annexation and in conformance with Resolution 1396. The site was part of the 3 exempt tax parcel segregations in 2018, 2020, and 2021. The site was rezoned from RT, residential transition, to C1, which is retail business, in 2022 under file number Z 2021-018. Per PMC 25.15.050 definitions, community service facilities include hospitals and related uses which provide similar services for citizens, except such uses which limit the activity solely to organizational or administrative office functions. Per Pasco Municipal Code 25-200.010, unclassified uses enumerated in PMC 25-200.020, conditional uses listed within each district and any other uses specifically referred to in this chapter are subject to the regulations contained in the chapter. And per Pasco Municipal Code 25.200.010, all such uses due to their nature are deemed to require special review. And so this is why we're doing a special permit for this use. On top of that, this property is located in the I-182 corridor overlay district, and as such, the proposal is subject to the I-182 corridor overlay district development regulations found in PMC 25.130. Based on these findings of fact and conclusions, staff recommends that a special permit be approved for the location of the CBHA Medical Clinic at the northeast corner of Road 68 and Three Rivers Drive, which is parcel 116-030026, with conditions as listed in the March 13, 2024 hearing examiner staff report. And that is our report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adams. Is the applicant ready to proceed? Good evening, sir. I'll have you state your name and address for me.
Dennis Dean, KDA Architecture in Yakima, Washington. My address is 2701 West Chestnut, Yakima, Washington.
Okay, I'll have you raise your right hand for me, please. And sir, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury the testimony you give today will be the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dean, you're here as an agent authorized to appear and speak on behalf of the applicant and property owner, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And have you had a chance to review the staff report?
We have.
And does the applicant have any objection with any of the representations in the staff report?
No, we don't. We do have one correction, slight correction just related to the schedule. Our current schedule now is starting construction in April 2024 and completing or occupying in June 2025.
All right, have you had a chance to look at those proposed conditions of approval?
Yes.
And do you have any objection with any of those?
No, I'll just make one minor comment. We were hoping for less costs on the contribution for some of the mitigation items, but we understand where costs are today, so we do not have any objection to that.
All right, thank you. Once again, those are my introductory questions. What else would the applicant want to tell me about this?
Well, Jeff's done a good job of an overview. We did want to show, though, a new fly-through that shows the building. A piece that I could escape out of this. Hold on. He said all I had to do is hit escape. Oh, there it goes. Never mind. So this is a new fly-through that we've just done here in the last month of the building. This is starting at the front, going around toward the east side. And one main thing you're going to see is just the variation in heights to again try to work within the neighborhood and to make it not be just a big box. Not all the landscaping shown, that's just for ease of creating this image. This would be the northeast side. And then the west. And the tall element that's mostly glass, that's what's called the Galleria, so that's the entry point which everything goes off of. And then the expansion would come off this side as well.
It has a marked similarity to the Columbia Valley Community Health Clinic that was just built in East Wenatchee. I don't know if you are related to them or you did the architecture work for Columbia Valley Community Health, but yeah, it's a very lovely building.
You have a good eye. Yes, we were the architect for that building as well. But the CEO, but the CEO for CBHA, Neves, says that this is much better, and we'll wipe that one out.
All right. Well, I will keep that to myself.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for doing that fly around for me. What else would you like to tell me?
That's all we had. We, like I said, we agree with everything, and you've got all the material that we've had, so no need to go back through some of this stuff again unless you had specifics you wanted to see. We did bring the plans, but again, you have most of that information already.
No, I review, I don't have any further questions, so if I did, I would tell you, but I think I understand the project fairly well.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much, Mr. Dean.
Thank you.
Did any member of the public that's there in person come to testify on this matter? Seeing no movement, Mr. Adams, is there anybody online?
I am not seeing anybody. I also don't have my tab up.
Oh, well, I don't see anybody, but I don't know that I would. Is there anything further from staff?
No, sir.
All right, then, Mr. Dean, what I'm going to do is I am going to close the public record portion of the hearing, and I will have my written decision made within the next 10 working days. We will turn to the next item on today's agenda. And if you'll give me a second. This is an application for a rezone from C1 retail business to R3 residential medium density. This is given application number Z2023-014. This relates to property located within the city of Pasco that is more specifically described in the staff report as well as in the application materials. For the record, I will admit into the record the staff report, the application materials, the noticing documents, the site plans, the zoning maps, the comprehensive plan map. I'll admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference, and once again turn this matter over to Mr. Adams for the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. You might notice that this is called Glacier Park 2, C1 to R3. That is because this is the second go around for this property. It was originally rezoned from C1 along the entire south part of this property. I'm going to move you over here, Mr. Examiner. And the original rezone converted everything south of this line here from C1 to R3 except for this little corner that was saved as a C1 zone. Applicant has come back with a request to convert the entire area to R3 zoning. Therefore, this would apply to that one marked area, the C1 zone here. So this is file number Z2023-014, Big Sky Developer, care of Peter Harpster. This property is located northeast of the intersection of Burns Road and Ochoa Lane. Franklin County Assessor parcel number 114330054. The site is currently zoned C1, and the site to be rezoned contains approximately 3.34 acres. I'm sorry, it was Dave Greeno, not Peter Harpster. Public notice of this hearing was sent to property owners within 300 feet of the property and posted in the Tri-City Herald on February 27, 2024. The site was annexed into the city in 2022 under Ordinance 4574A, and the site was assigned C1 zoning under Ordinance 4584 in conjunction with the annexation. The city's 2018-2038 Pasco Comprehensive Plan Land Use Map originally designated the site commercial. On April 17, 2023, Council approved Ordinance 4652, which changed the Comprehensive Plan Land Use designation of the site from commercial to mixed use, residential and commercial. And that's the current map right there. The mixed residential and commercial comprehensive plan land use designation allows R1 through R4, C1, office and mixed use zones. On November 6, 2023, the City Council approved rezone Z 2023-005 under Ordinance 4691 of approximately 10.20 acres of the surrounding parcels. And that's the one that we were talking about earlier. Rezone 2023-005 left approximately 3.34 acres, zone C1, as noted in this exhibit here. The mixed residential and commercial designation accommodates a diverse range of housing at a density of 5 to 29 dwelling units per acre, as well as non-residential uses, commercial uses, neighborhood retail and office uses, parks and recreational areas, and civic uses. Both the site's current C1 zoning and the proposed R3 zoning align with the city's 2018-2038 Pasco Comprehensive Plan land use map. The proposed R3 zoning would match the adjoining R3 zone property to the north and to the west. And those are the highlights of our report.
All right, thank you very much. Is the applicant ready to proceed? Good evening, sir. Could you state your name and address for me?
Yes, Rick Simon, RPS Planning Consultant, address 98402 North Harrington Road, West Richland, and I'm speaking on behalf of Dave Greeno on Big Sky Developers.
All right, I'll have you raise your right hand for me, please. Sir, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give today will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Simon, you already indicated you're the agent for the property owner and applicant. Have you had a chance to look at the staff report?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any disagreement or corrections to the staff report?
No, in fact, we're in full agreement with the staff report.
All right, thank you. What else, if anything, would you like to tell me about this request?
I really don't have anything to add. The staff did a thorough job in analyzing our application, and we appreciate that. I would just simply like to point out that staff had suggested some conditions of approval, and we're in agreement with those as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simon. Thanks for coming in. Did any member of the public come to testify on this matter? I'm not seeing anybody in person. Was there anybody online, Mr. Adams?
I am checking. No, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Is there anything further from staff, Mr. Adams?
No, sir.
All right. Then, Mr. Simon, what I'm going to do is I am going to close the public record portion of the hearing on this matter, and I will have a written recommended decision, not a final decision, a written recommendation made to City Council within the next 10 working days. All right, we are now down to our last item on today's agenda. We pull this up. This is an application for a rezone as well, given application number Z 2024-001. This is a request to rezone a piece of property in the city of Pasco from residential suburban to residential low density. This project is once again located within the city of Pasco on property that's more specifically described in the staff report as well as in all those application materials. For the record, I will admit into the record at this time and by this reference that staff report, the overview maps, the land use and zoning and comp plan maps, there's photographs of the site and the vicinity, the noticing documents. I'll admit all those items. Indeed, I will admit the entire planning staff file into the record at this time by this reference and turn this matter over to Mr. Hattori, I understand, for the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Yes, this is application Z, standing for rezone 2024-001 Ochoa RS20 to R1. The proposal is located at 916 Road 56, Franklin County parcel number 119631060 on the northwest corner of Castle Holly Court and Road 56. The property is currently zoned RS20 residential suburban, and the subject parcel is approximately 3.34 acres in size. The applicant has proposed to rezone a parcel of land from RS20 to R1, the purpose of which is to provide in the future a new subdivision. Public notice of this hearing was sent to property owners within 300 feet of the property and posted in the Tri-City Herald on February 28th, 2024. This parcel was annexed into the city of Pasco from Franklin County under Ordinance 4077 and assigned the RS20 zoning designation under Ordinance 4078. The parcels have remained RS20 zoning since. The low density residential land use code allows for RS20, RS12, RS1, R1, R1A, and R1A2 zoning, and the land use code for both the existing and proposed zoning designation is the same. Low density residential allowing 3 to 6 dwelling units per acre. Staff would like to note that the proposed rezone does not include a project action. It is anticipated that should the rezone be approved, a subsequent subdivision project may be submitted for review. This review would include requirements for the impacts it has on the level of service for parks, transportation, etc. Any and all subdivision proposals would additionally be required to adhere to Pasco Municipal Code and Standards, including provisions such as connectivity and the residential design standards. With that being said, staff recommends that 916 Road 56, Franklin County parcel number 119631060 be rezoned from RS20 residential suburban to R1 low density residential. And with that, I'll turn it back to you for any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hattori. It's fairly straightforward. I do not have any questions for you. Is the applicant ready to proceed? Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
And your name and address, please?
It's Juan Ochoa, 916 North Road 56, Pasco, Washington, 99301.
All right, Mr. Ochoa, I'm going to have you raise your right hand for me, please. Sir, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give today will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. And I assume you are the property owner and the applicant, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And have you had a chance to look at the staff report?
Yes.
Do you have any disagreement or any corrections needed for any of the representations within the staff report?
No, not at all.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
With that out of the way, what would you like to tell me about your request here?
So I'm rezoning, as mentioned, rezoning from RS20 to R1. In the future, doing a development there for some housing. Doing the pre-meeting here last year. Seems like we're on schedule and everything applies by the comprehensive plan for the city of Pasco. So I think that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate you coming in tonight. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we'll turn this over to the public. I do see some other folks there in the room. Did any member of the public come to testify on this matter? Yes, sir. Just go ahead and come on up.
Am I going to go back? No.
Sir, I'll have you state your name and address for me.
Allen Brothers, 1002 Road 55.
And is Allen with one L or two?
1L.
All right, glad I asked. Mr. Brothers, would you raise your right hand for me, please? Sir, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that any testimony you give me today will be the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you very much. And sir, what would you like to tell me about this request?
So I received this in the mail, and I wasn't really sure what the rezoning meant. And I looked it up online, and still not sure exactly what it means. But some of the things that concerned me was when I looked at new rezoning, it said the potential for courtyard apartments. I don't know exactly what that means in terms of height or density, but it did raise some alarms for me. I've lived my current address in Pasco for 32 years, and in that time I've seen the population go from 19,000 to 80-some thousand, and I know Pasco is going to continue to grow, but I would just like to keep the density low. You know, not have the density grow as well as the population grow, if that's possible. And I think, you know, the notice went out 300 feet. I think if it had gone out a little further, there'd be more people here, more concerns. And also, since I've lived at where I lived, I've seen things go up around me, and it's just restricting my view more and more and more. And so I'm not sure exactly what it means when it's going to go there again with the courtyard apartments and stuff. And so that's why I came to speak. That's about all I have to say.
Well, thank you very much for taking time out of your evening to come here, Mr. Brothers. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go, anybody else? So is there anybody else online, Mr. Hattori?
No, sir.
All right. And is there anything further from staff?
No, sir.
All right. And Mr. Ochoa, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm good.
Nothing further from Mr. Ochoa. So what I'm going to do is I will close the public record portion of the hearing on this matter. I will have a recommended decision to City Council. They'll make the final decision on this. But I'll have my recommended decision to them within the next 10 working days. I see the applicant from the first item is still in the room. I don't know if they're wanting to reopen the record on the first item or if we can adjourn the hearing at this time. Mr. Adams, do you have any understanding?
I think we're waiting for the question about the shoreline jurisdiction on that.
Okay, they're going to work with you on that. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, I've kept the record open on the first item for a period of time. And there are no other items that are on today's agenda. So I'm now going to adjourn this March 13th, 2024 meeting of the City of Pasco Hearing Examiner. I do appreciate everybody that took their time to come out here tonight, especially you, Mr. Brothers. Everybody else that came are the applicants, and I really appreciate it when members of the public come and provide their thoughts and comments on various proposals that come before me. So with that, I am now going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all very much for coming. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Andy.